mentioned the business bankruptcy, but it sounded
Yes.
like, was this a personal bankruptcy that you had to file as well, or
Well,
was that
LLCs are tied to yourself, right? So
sure?
if the business
Yeah,
goes down, your personal can go down with it.
sure. Yeah,
So as the business
makes
had to
sense.
strategically remove itself from that liability, it
Hmm.
removed our opportunity and income as well.
Got it.
And therefore, we personally suffered from it.
Understood.
Hmm.
Okay, so it sounds like the judge that you went before was, um, I guess, ruled in your favor in a sense, and then how did things go from there?
So once we got that, and we were a little bit dumbfounded, and kind of came off of that moment and realizing, wow, what was this opportunity? What did it mean? I
Hmm.
kind of went back to some of the core fundamentals of business and skill set that I knew I had, because I had to at this point sort of reinvent myself as to like, what am I in business and what am I going to do? Possibility of going and getting a job was on the table because income needed to be there. But
Yeah.
very shortly after that event, my wife got very sick,
Mm,
and because of that, it led to a situation with a high risk pregnancy that
mm.
forced her to have to stop working. So all of a sudden we were at zero income. So the risk just got a lot greater. And with
Wow.
that, dad had to take on more of the responsibilities of the household. She was put on bed rest. She was considered high risk, and we were taking her to the doctor twice a week.
Wow.
We thought we had a baby at one point, 6 months in. Thank God that did
Wow.
not happen. But the end result was medical conditions now trumped all of life.
Sure.
So all that's
Absolutely.
hidden in the background that we all thought was so big, and everyone's so afraid of the financial crap. What happens if I don't have? Well, I'll tell you what. You can fall on a relative's couch and you can bounce back, but when medical issues are faced, you may
Yeah.
fall as a porg. That's a
All of a
very
sudden you have one wish, right?
all of a
And
sudden health trumps everything else. So at that
absolutely.
point, I didn't have that same desire to go get a job, even though I know we needed the income, because all of a sudden I had little babies. We had 4 girls, and they were
Mm,
all born in 4.5 years. So
mm.
suddenly I had all these little kids and a sick wife, and I had to take care of her. And I had to make
Wow.
sure that that was, and it was an important part of that. And, the provisions came. The provisions, I will say, are based on my faith, and they came from my God, and he is powerful. And he just said, you know what, you got to set here, you got to take care of your family, and let me handle this stuff. And so the money just
Mm,
sort of showed up. I
mm.
remember one month we needed $1,856 and change to make those month's bills and get everybody fed and take care of the lights and make everything go. And I
Mhm.
don't remember where that came from, but it
Mm.
was there.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
and I certainly do, believe in the power of faith and as well. But logistically speaking,
Mhm.
who did that money actually come from? Was it people from your church or family
I
or?
honestly do not remember. I can't
Okay,
tell you the details. I just know that it showed up, and from
that's
there
awesome.
things started to change as the health situation kind of progressed to the pregnancy. One of those things we learned was why was this starting to occur in her system, and how do we actually resolve it,
Hmm.
because of the medical issues that were there. And she was, in simple terms, she was becoming toxified by her environment. So
Mm,
by the food, the chemicals, the dyes, and the type of food we were eating and things, they were
mm,
toxifying her body, and because of the taxing of the baby on her body, it was affecting her faster than before she was pregnant. Even though it was affecting her then, she just didn't know it.
mm.
And so that basically escalated that. So we became a process of learning about how to treat that, and how to treat, and discovered it was in my daughters as well. It's genetic. And then how
Mm.
to treat them through that process, which has become a 15 plus year adventure in resolving that,
Mm.
including moving to the country and having organic chickens and eating organic beef and keeping a very clean, holistic diet, even down to the kind of shampoos. In fact, I created a shampoo line that my kids
Mm.
can use,
Oh,
that is
cool.
non-toxic, gluten-free, dairy-free. It's got colloidal silver in it. It's on Amazon, and they can buy it. We get it and they use it, and it helps them
Mm.
stay detoxified. And so that
Interesting.
beget opportunities to figure out what new incomes. And then because of that, I went back to media, some experience in media buying online for lead generation that I had done for previous companies.
Hmm.
And I started into the mobile lead generation side of things. I was uploading
Okay.
spreadsheets into systems. There was no, Facebook ads and YouTube ads, and there was no
Right.
Instagram and TikTok. I mean, those are just all in the last 20 years, right? And so we were uploading spreadsheets, and I was learning how to do mobile media marketing, and had a number of campaigns that I figured out how to get going really well. And suddenly we were going to 100, 200, 500, $1,000 a day in profit. And
Wow.
from there, things started changing really fast.
Yeah, and I love to dive into your business, today's business in a minute. So as far as kind of getting out of it, I guess how did you make the decision to start focusing more on income? I guess was it your wife's health situation was squared away, and then what was that process like as far as your mindset change or your focus change?
Well, it never went away, right?
Sure.
Priorities were obviously to take care of health and wellness first, but that got to be
Sure.
very expensive, extremely expensive. The girls could not eat in the regular kinds of formulas. They couldn't use the regular diapers because of skin rashes and things that were sensitivity. They had to use the special formula that, was a little 50-ounce can that went out in like 2 days. And then we were running up with like those in 3 days. And all of a sudden we're spending $1,500 a month in formula alone. So I'm like, okay, this problem has to get solved. So now the business has to be focused on, because the medical issues have now created a need, and I've got to fill that need. How am I going to do that? And so that was
that makes a lot of sense.
You had to find need, fill it, right?
And that's the thing with all this stuff. It's and I don't mean to gloss over it. And
no,
that's the risk with my podcast, to be honest with you, is we just almost
go on for like 2 hours.
But the flip side is we just gloss over some real, pain and adversity that people experience. But the point I want to make is that it's all related. So
it is.
Your health, medical issues are related to your finances and are related to your relationship, struggles or upside, if you will. So but it's trying to navigate, which one. They're all related, but you can't have them all.
They're all related because to some degree, I mean, finances beget health, and health sometimes requires finances. And so that becomes a circle. But the difference was I changed from more of a greedy self-pursuit that led to those problems, and more of there's a need that needs filled, and I'm going to fill it because it's for someone else. So when purpose changed, everything changed. Right. And because of that, with my back against the wall, that purpose was just now, how do I take care of the basic needs that are met here? That's all I care about at this point, right? I have no more grandiose goals. I have no big, hairy, audacious, whatever. I don't have any 5-year plan. It's like, how do I get to next month?
Yeah. And I think that's been a common theme with my guests, to be honest with you, as far as people who've dealt with very challenging situations and how did they get through that? Well, I think probably the number one thing I've learned myself through these episodes is eventually you got to focus on others, and that really can become your purpose.
That's a very good motivator, right? Absolutely. And that's where tenacity. Okay, there's the courage to start something, and a lot of people have that courage, but they lack the tenacity and the consistency to see it through to the end.
Sure.
And that is something that I struggle with if you do the DISC profile. We were talking a little bit about this earlier from the Wealth Without Wall Street. What's my investor DNA, or how do I look at business? And you should all go take a free DISC assessment and find out exactly kind of what your personality and business profile is. I now know I'm a DI. Okay. I start things great and I'm good at influencing and moving things forward, but I've got to have that structure of someone behind me who follows in the consistencies. And my business partner for 10 years has been that person. My wife is that person. And now I have a network of very super smart people around me who help keep that focused. And they allow me to be me. And that purpose in those people is not what drives me forward. Their happiness drives me forward. So there's the fun and people part of my personal thing now, right? And from that, the third part is of its profit, right? And from that profit came opportunities to make money. And money has flowed by focusing on the fun and people part of that equation first. And now I have not just profit in finances, but profit in people, profit in life, profit in relationships, another profit that is just not financial.